Hey, what's going on? I want to go over a brief explanation on how to actually go through the process of your sales cycle while you're talking to somebody on the discovery call. There's an acronym in the medical field, and the reason why I use this acronym called CHART, more specifically, which is in the medical field, is because everybody's always comparing a sales call to like visiting the doctor or something like that, right? So as you can see, it says chat, not chart, and I purposely did that because in the medical field, chart is going for complaint, history, assessment. R in the medical field is R with a small x, stands for treatment. It's typically what treatment would be, and then T is for transport, which transport time, everything like that. If you're doing something in the ambulance, 911, things like that. Obviously, we don't have a transport time, and so I figured, so I wouldn't confuse anybody, I switched it to chat. I'm not some genius that came up with this. I'm just leveraging somebody else's discovery and using that to help teach this knowledge. Now, what this is going to cover is it's basically going to help you make sure you have everything laid out, especially if you're a newer sales rep or maybe even you're a seasoned person and you're just noticing you're not necessarily falling off the tracks, but you're getting complacent and you're wanting to get a more streamlined approach, right? So I want to cover this to help out and help make it easier so you can make sure you have your entire process more controlled, more streamlined, which is going to make you more efficient and effective on your call. Now, basically, during this whole process right here, for C, it's going to be complaint or your challenge. So here in the beginning, you've already done your rapport build, you've already talked them introductions on how this call is typically going to go, and you're trying to alleviate as much sales pressure in that beginning of that intro, okay? So, and this is before you even dove into what their complaint is. So something like this for the intro, you're going to talk to them like, hey, my name is Jonathan. Glad to have you on this call, and basically walk them through. Like, hey, so we take a more of a consultative approach. I just want you to know I want to dive more into exactly what you're going through and see exactly what we can do to help out. Now, at the end of the day, if you want to partner up with us, totally cool. We can go down that route and decide what we want to do from there and walk you through how that works. The other thing that's also cool to do, and there's no sweat off my back, is if you decide that this isn't for you, for whatever reason, if it just doesn't fit your plan or it's not the solution that you're looking for, we're cool about that. I just want to make sure at the end of this conversation I can at least point you in the right direction. Now, if you don't mind taking it from here, just kind of walk me through, what's going on exactly? What do you really need help with? And then at that point, that's going to be your complaint. That's going to be the challenge they're going through. They're going to walk you through, oh, well, can't get any leads on the board. I'm paying for Google. We are doing 5K a month, and dude, it's crickets. Our phones aren't ringing, or the people who do call happen to be people we don't even want to deal with, sometimes not even in our state, so I don't even know what's going on. Something like that. That's a complaint, okay? Okay, cool. Awesome, man. You don't want to say awesome, but walk through that point next. All right, so I get that. I totally get that. So walk me through. Tell me a little bit more about your company. What specifically do you do? I know you're doing roof replacements. Do you have other solutions that you do as well, or walk me through a little bit more about what you do for your clients? And then they're going to walk them through that. Now you're going to be okay. So, and who's your target audience? Who are you specifically trying to target for this? And then let them walk through that. Now get specific on that too. This is the history, okay? There's C, which is complaint, which is going to be your challenge. H, which is going to be your history of who they are, who they serve, how they do their actual service. All right? So they're going to tell you all that. And get specific. If they just say, oh, anybody in Chicago or somebody in Florida and certain zip code areas, okay, that's cool, man. Now, because you're telling me more about your specific service, let's use roofers as an example, because there's not two kinds, but there's multiple different ways roofers actually operate. But a good one would be example. So, okay, cool. So are you more focused on the insurance side of things, or are you going on the actual consumer side where the consumer's paying for everything? And then dive into that so you can know what category they're going to be focused on. And this is going to make a huge difference because what's going to end up happening, you'll be able to use this to speak their lingo as your pitch is going on. All right. So make sure you clarify these questions. That's what history is about. Now, assessment. After you've already found out their history, you're going to go and dive in to what they've tried. What solutions are they looking at? What are the results that they've seen from their actual efforts of what they've tried? Do they like what they've tried? Do they like what they've looked at so far? If they're meeting with other people, this is where you really find that information out. Reason being is because one thing I've learned during the time of closing, if you're talking to somebody who's looking at other solutions, which is very, very likely, it's very rare there's somebody who's just looking at you and only you. Sometimes that does happen, but it's very rare. So let's say they are looking at other solutions. You find this out in your discovery. This is good because now you know they're looking at company A, company B, and your company, and you're like company W. Like you're down on the list of like a million other ones. This is going to be a great opportunity for you to postpone either your pitch and definitely postpone your offer, because you don't want to be, if you're company W and they have all these other companies lined up to interview after you, you want to make sure you're the last person they talk to. You're the last person that they speak with on the revealing of what your offer is, on how you can help them. Reason being, because let's say you pitch them. Let's say you walk through your entire pitch. You walk through your offer. All right. They know everything now. They have no reason to come back and talk to you. They know your offer price. They know your service. And so they can go talk to all these other companies that are after you. And if somebody one call closes them, you're out of luck. They're not coming back. Even if you schedule a follow-up, it doesn't matter. You have a very low chance of them coming back at that point, unless you are just like all shining stars and glory for them, which can happen. Again, it's not impossible, but it is hard to make that happen. So you want to hold back information. And what I mean by that, don't be mischievous, don't be misleading. Just simply be, okay, cool. Give them a high-level view. Okay, cool. Prospect. So, based on what you've told me so far, I think you'd be a perfect fit for this. Let me get with my team real quick. We're going to come up with a custom solution of exactly how we can actually help you. From a high-level view, here's how we typically help our clients. And then walk them through a high-level view of what you do. Okay? High-level view. Even if you don't have a custom solution, you want to get them back in here, because what's going to happen is they're going to now go talk to all these other companies, figure out what their solution is. But that desire, that curiosity to know what you do and how you can actually help them is going to linger. And they're not going to, well, I'm not going to say it again, it's not going to say it's impossible, but chances are of them moving forward with another company is really not going to happen. All right? It gives you that extra leverage, that extra fight to get them back in front of you. Huge advantage. So that's what assessment's for. Figure out who they're trying to go to, who they're trying to talk to, what results are they getting from efforts they're currently trying, what do they like? Because you want to use all this information, again, to coordinate your pitch to make it resonate with them. Let's say they don't like one-on-ones, and let's say you do one-on-one coaching. Let's say they prefer group, because usually when you do a group, you have more mind speaking. It allows the brain flow of juices of all creativity to come out. Let's say that's why they like the groups. So, and you're a one-on-one and you don't do groups. You can at least provide advantage points on after you've discovered why they don't like one-on-ones. If it's because they're shy or they don't feel like they learn enough, things like that. You can be like, okay, cool, but you know what? We have one-on-ones coming in here. I know you mentioned you really enjoy having that group experience, but you know what? We're actually coming in with a plan. We're actually going to brainstorm. We're not going to just like, hey, what questions do you have? So we're going to get those juices flowing so you can know exactly what questions to come up with. And if you don't have any, then guess what? We have the whole community in our Slack channel. You can talk to everybody else in there. Or we have our Facebook group where you can go and brainstorm and talk in there. Things like that. And so that way they can actually have that group discovery, that group feeling of engagement, if that makes sense. So anyways, that's the whole point of assessment. Find out what they like, so that way you can actually rearrange your pitch for that whole value. And then also for things like, I'm going to talk to other companies too as well. Now, T is the final part. It's treatment. All right. So treatment is your solution strategy. What's going to help them? What's that prescription to get them over that pain point they're going through? So what you're going to do here is that's when you start pitching. That's when you do your solution offer. Then that's when you actually throw your offer out there to them. Your retainer basis, your one-time investment, whatever it is. And then what that helps do, basically what that's going to allow you to do for them. It's an exchange, right? So the treatment is, okay, cool. You know what? For a one-time investment, here's what we do, X, Y, Z, list everything out, and then obviously price drop at that point. and at this point you've already should have tied them down. There's methods in between, not in between, but there's methods within these categories of things you should be doing, which is a whole other subject. Okay, remember when you're doing the treatment to first tie them down on how they feel about the actual process that you're going to be doing for them. All right, make sure they're on the same page, make sure they understand, make sure they don't have any questions, make sure there's no hesitations before you even drop that price. The treatment is just simply the solution that's going to solve their problem, and then the offer will come up at that point, which is that price drop. And when you do that price drop, reiterate exactly what they're getting. For a one-time investment, here's what you're getting. Okay, and then ask them. You want to push them on what decision they want to make. You don't want to be, hey, you need to make a decision now. What is it going to be, yes or no? You don't need to do that. What you need to do is, all right, so what sort of action do you want to take from here? Is this something you want to jump forward on? And if you noticed how I worded it, I gave him that option of opportunity to have control. What do you want to do from here? Or how do you want to proceed from here? And I purposely followed up with a more direct question to give me a yes or no, because it's still making them feel like they have this leniency of making a choice and having control, but at the same time, it's getting switched with the direct yes or no question. Is this something you want to jump forward on? That's an action taken question. Now you want to decrease the sales resistance as much as possible, and if you're just simply going to ask, is this something you want to jump forward on? They don't feel like they're having that coach. They feel like you're trying to corner them into making a yes or no decision. But if you go, how do you want to proceed from here? Is this something you want to jump forward on? And then make sure your tonality. You notice how I dropped in my tonality, my pitch, my cadence. I dropped down. That's because I'm trying to make them feel less pressured. I'm trying to make them feel like this is more of a choice that they can make and that it's okay. It's a calm, soothing voice. Is this something you want to jump forward on? As opposed to, is this something you want to jump forward on? That sounds pressuring. It's coming quick. It's making them feel like they have to make a decision right then and there, which that's the that they are going to have to. They know this, but your voice is calming them if you actually use it correctly. So this is just, again, something that has helped me streamline my conversations, making sure I know what sort of order I want to take it through. And then this way you can actually have a direction, have a path of how you're talking to all your prospects in the same manner, same effect. And again, just remember, this is every piece in here has more integral parts. Like when you're following up and not following up, but when you're going through a complaint, as an example, you do want to ask questions, okay? Same thing with history. When they're going through things and listing out exactly, who they are, who they serve, you want to ask questions in there. It's a deep dive discovery. And then assessment, same concept. Dig in every question. Every answer they have a clarifying question that as long as it pertains to the actual solution you're trying to come up with, ask a clarifying question. So what have you tried? Oh, I tried some Google. Okay, cool. So what sort of results were you getting with the Google ads? Dig into that. Okay. How long were you trying it for? 6 months. Okay. All right. And the entire time you never saw any results? Oh, well, we were seeing results for the first 3 months. It was fantastic. Then all of a sudden it just stopped. Cool. Now you want to find out what changed. Okay, cool. So what changed exactly? Like, did you change anything at all? Well, I mean, we tried a few extra things and added some more to the fire by adding more ad spend. And I don't know, the company just said, they actually came to us and said at that time they were starting to grow, weren't able to really tend to us as much. They're keeping us on board. They recommended we find another ad expert, just because I guess they have different focuses. Okay, cool. Now you're learning some more information. Okay, so just an example. You don't have to go, not that you don't have to, but you actually want to go and dive that deep. But make sure you are clarifying things, right? But that's all for today. Hope this was helpful. If you have any questions at all, let me know. We'll be glad to help with this whole process. Make sure, always go in with a plan on how you want to approach your sales calls. It will help you dramatically in the end in closing more deals.